pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening's consent agenda as read. A, City Council regular meeting, November 2nd, 2021. City Council work session, November 16th, 2021. City Council regular meeting, November 16th, 2021. Planning Commission meeting, October 11th, 2021. B, authorize the mayor to execute an agreement for consulting planner services for the year 2022 with Municipal Development Group, LLC. C, authorize the city administrator to execute an automatic mutual aid agreement between the Winston Volunteer Fire Department and the Lester Prairie Fire Department. D, adopt Resolution R 2149, a resolution approving the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, between the state of Minnesota and local government and authorizing participation in national opioid settlement.
You're close.
I'm close. Opioid. E, adopt Resolution R 2150, a resolution declaring certain property acclimated by the Winston Police Department as unclaimed property. Adopt Resolution R 2151, a resolution for reestablishing unchanged precinct and polling places. G, adopt Resolution R 21-52, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the City of Winstead's allocation of unrequested redistribution coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds established under the American Rescue Plan Act. H, adopt Resolution R 2153, authorizing a transfer of funds from the general fund to the capital improvement fund. I, authorize the purchase of 150 additional water meter registers and endpoints from Metering and Technology Solutions for the cost not to exceed $34,000. J, authorize PMA Financial Securities and 4M Fund to invest the City of Winston's 4M Fund into those investments pursuant to Minnesota State statute for the year 2022. K, authorize RBC Wealth Management to invest the City of Winstead's 4M Fund in those investments pursuant to Minnesota State statute for the year 2022. I, authorize Northland Securities Incorporated to invest the Cities of Winsted Fund in those investments pursuant to the Minnesota State statute for the year 2022. M, approve a solid waste hauler license from Mumford Sanitation expiring December 31st, 2022. N, approve a solid waste hauler license for Randy Sanitation Incorporated expiring December 31st, 2022. O, approve a solid waste hauler license for Waste Management expiring December 31st, 2022. P, schedule a City Council goal setting session for Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the Volmer Room at Winsted City Hall. Q, adopt and recommend 2022 compensation plan. R, approve the pledged securities that Security Bank and Trust Company have purchased for the City of Winsted for the month of November 2021. S, approve the building permit report for the month of November 2021. T, approve the financial report for the month of October 2021. U, approve the claims list for December 21st, 2021. V, accept a bid of $41,000 plus applicable taxes or fees from the Soderberg's Tree Service for the purchase of a Vermeer BC 1500 brush clipper from the City of Winsted. That concludes the agenda. Can I have a motion to accept?
Mr. Mayor, a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, and I abstain from voting on item R.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No public hearing, no old business. First item under new business this evening is an agreement and a contract with Minspec LLC for inspection services in the city. Adam?
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. First off, I need to apologize. I know that was a very heavy consent agenda this evening when we got through it. So with that being said, moving forward on this new business item, as part of the 2021 City Council goal setting session, the City Council prioritized reviewing the performance of and developing options for city consultants, including the building official. We have currently been working with Metro West Inspection since January 3rd of 2002. In the first quarter of 2021, city staff held a meeting with representatives from Metro West Inspection Incorporated to discuss issues related to services provided by the firm. Additionally, city staff solicited a proposal from a different consultant to compare against the current service agreement. Throughout the second and third quarters, city staff continued to monitor the services of Metro West and detail items needed for improvement. City staff reviewed alternative consultants and noted minor improvements during that time period with Metro West, specifically with rental housing inspections and code enforcement. City staff reviewed the current contract recently and found that the vendor may not be meeting all the terms of the contract and has created a potential breach concerning certain provisions within that said contract. With further review of the contract, city staff recognized that a 90-day written notice of termination may be provided to the party. At the last city council work session, the city council did authorize staff to submit that 90-day termination letter to Metro West, which we have done. In the meantime, it was determined after discussing with the city attorney that a RFP is not warranted in this situation. So we did not put out any RFPs for this consultant service. Instead, we have been working directly with Minspect. Minspect is here this evening. Minspect is owned and operated by a gentleman of the name of Scott Qualley. So I'm going to ask Scott to join us up here at the dais. And then after Scott's presentation, the city council will have a decision to make, and the recommendation is certainly to move forward in authorizing an agreement between the city of Winsted and Minspect to provide building official services and inspections starting in 2022. So with that being said, good evening, Scott.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. If I could clarify one point, the 90-day notice was provided in November, I think.
Well, it was provided recently, and Metro West has determined that we can end that agreement. We don't need 90 days. We can end that agreement as of
The first of the
January
year?
1st. Yeah,
Okay.
or December
So that
31st.
clarifies that
Yeah.
overlap component. So my name is Scott Qualley. I am the general manager currently of Minspect. It's a company that I bought from a gentleman named Paul Waldron back in 2005 and have been the designated building official and owner of the company since that time. The company was recently sold. I should tell you that because it would be an omission if I didn't. I am staying on for at least 2 years. We have a staff of 25 people. The company that I sold it to is located in Colorado, and their goal is to expand their footprint within Minnesota, and this was their way to accomplish that. So I'm here and have every intention of being here for at least 2 more years, perhaps more, as long as they'll have me probably. And am operating the company as we did in the past, because essentially that's what they bought, was the staff and the expertise and the training and the quality people that we have. They don't have any interest in throwing us all out and trying to find new people to do that work, because they won't find anybody, and they know that. So it'll be the folks that have been working with Adam from my office, Tracy and Wendy and Ty and all the others that we have there that are working on the transition. And we do have a little bit of kind of cart before the horse with regards to expending effort and making transitions and changeovers without having a fully ratified and approved contract, but I'm fine with that because my understanding is that we're all on the same page about that effort. So to that end, we have been doing this work again since 2005 under my leadership, and we have a large organization with 25 people. It's equivalent to a city of the size of maybe 250,000 people. There are probably only 2 or 3 departments in the state that are larger than MinSpect is. We offer every service that's available within the realm of a building inspections department. We have a master plumber on staff, and we do plumbing plan review in lieu of the state. We have people, myself included, who do Department of Human Services inspections for fire and daycare kinds of activities. We have state delegation to do state licensed facilities, so schools, jails, hospitals, all those kinds of things. We have 6 or 7 people that are authorized to do that. So we kind of bring the whole platter of services. We've got a department that's specifically set up to do rental inspections and make sure that your rental licensing ordinance is operating as it should and that people are being held accountable for the issues that they do. We do code enforcement work as well. Same group, our manager of specialty inspections takes care of that. So if you need us to be doing whether it's tall grass or property maintenance issues or whatever those are, that all falls into that same organization. And then sediment and erosion control as well, to make sure that the storm sewers aren't receiving dirt from job sites and things like that. So we kind of bring a whole package. I like to think of it as about an 8-layer cake, and a city could take a little piece of this and a little big piece of that and whatever they need in order to get the job done. And we offer those services, and it's all part of the agreement that we've got tonight. Everything essentially other than building inspections and plumbing plan review is sort of at our negotiation. If city code or nuisance abatement stuff isn't an issue in January, we're not going to go out and look for it. When Adam tells us to go look for it or deal with a complaint or whatever, we will take care of it as we need to. But it's not like we need to be out driving around looking for that. We've got all kinds of things to take care of otherwise. So we're not going to try and run up the bill or drum up business. And in order to get that done, we'll do it as we're directed by you or by staff.
How big is your footprint?
It's large. Geographically, I assume you're talking about. We take care of Bayport, so right on the Wisconsin border on the St. Croix River, and take care of North St. Paul. We do backup services in a number of communities kind of around the fringe. We take care of some townships down where the 494 curve is on the south corner, so Ravenna Township in Dakota County. We do backup. We have 2 people full-time in Egan. We take care of Mound and Spring Park in the kind of the center of the area. Take care of Columbus and Now Then up on the north side, so it'll be north of 694 a ways. And then out this way, Lester Prairie is our closest community to here, and we've been there. We knew Adam when he was with us there. Been in Lester Prairie for, I suspect, better than 20 years. And then Glencoe and Silver Lake and a number of communities in McLeod County.
Okay.
So,
Scott, if you don't mind me asking, City
go
Council.
right ahead.
So with the sale of your company, I'll be quite honest, it caught me off guard just a little bit.
sorry.
Do you, again, you don't anticipate your services changing at all, or the model of how you provide your services? I can expect the same type of service.
Absolutely, and really the way I introduced the sale to our existing clients was that I've been searching for 15 years for a software solution to what we do. When I bought the company from Paul, there were 7 of these sitting on a desk and another row of 7 of them sitting next to them. And that was tomorrow's inspections and the day after's inspections. And when someone got a call, they'd say, someone's requesting an inspection. I'll go get the right tablet, pull out the tablet, and take it back to their desk and finish the phone call and write up the inspection. And that was the day I was sort of introduced to the company. I thought, we've got to fix this. We definitely need to have a computer solution to this, and got into Outlook and scheduling where they could see multiple inspectors at the same time and took care of all that. And I've spent over $100,000 in the 15 years I've owned the company trying to find a good solution to the software thing. And what SafeBuilt brings to us in Community Core is the software solution that I've sort of always wanted to have, that the city could look up at any time and see what's going on, that a resident could apply for a re-roof permit on Saturday night at home, online, that an inspector goes out and does an inspection on a tablet, and when they're done, their notes, if it failed, get emailed to the contractor and to the city and to us. So if anybody needs to know what's going on, they can just check their email or call, and we can find that for them, instead of writing out two-part paper and tearing it off and hoping someone can read your crappy handwriting or whatever. Writing in a very cold environment on a ladder or on a roof, it might not be as clear as you'd like it to be. There are all kinds of problems with that, but if we're typing things, it's got to be better. And then electronic plan review is the other piece of that. So we can streamline some of our processes by doing plan review. And people think electronic plan review, what is that, a computer doing your plan review? No, it's just doing your plan review on an electronic document and being able to stamp it up and then send it back for issuance, or to be able to communicate those notes or those comments or those corrections very easily on the plan review. So all of that is part of the package, but I don't see us changing. They haven't said one word to us in the 4 months since we sold about how we do business, about how we act as building officials. It's all about how can they pull the HR function away from us so that it's less work that we have to do. How can we get the billing away from us so it's less work that we have to do, so that we can concentrate and excel on doing the business that we do.
Okay. Well, I'm very confident in MinSpec's ability to communicate and be organized, and I think that's well represented here. So I'm very confident that I know our staff is very excited about that. Just even in our onboarding process, how smoothly that's been. So again, if I look for that to continue, and I'm sure it will.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the lot of upfront work. Ty and Tracy primarily are spending, I don't know, they've been working 80 hours a week for about 4 months, but they're really dedicated also to this process, because it's going to make life easier for us when we've kind of had one foot in an automated system and one foot in a non-automated system, depending on which system it was, for the last several years. And so we've got some things that are in Excel and some things that are in CityForce, which is a software we've been using up till now. And once we get everything, and we've made sure that all of everything that we've done up till now is transferable into the new system. So that'll be helpful for our existing clients, Lester Prairie and all the others, where something that got pulled last year will show up in our new software. But once we get all the onboarding and the details into the system, it's going to make things so much easier for everybody to manage. So we're quite excited about that as well.
Sure. The other item I have before the city council asks more question is, obviously the transition or this type of transition is certainly cumbersome or a little bit difficult.
Challenging, maybe.
Challenging, sure. We have a list, and you and I talked about this a little bit, but we have a list of between 75 and 100 as a guess of open permits. Maybe it's between 50 and 75.
Sure.
What's your recommendation on how the city of Winston handles those permits? Do you think we should work with our current service provider to get those permits closed out after this period of, after the transition ultimately? Or is that something that you would recommend we can work with you and find a fair solution how we get those wrapped up through MinSpec? Or
Sure.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a great question, and it's always a challenge when you're changing providers, but it's no different than if you had an employee who retired or quit or something. They're doing their job, and whatever day it is, on the 23rd, they're gone. And on the 24th, you have somebody new who has to pick up everything and continue on from there. And it's the same with us. And it's a little different maybe than you might have a city administrator who's transitioning away, and they might stay for a couple weeks to help with the training or whatever. You can only have one designated building official. And if it's not Todd, it's going to be me. And Todd can't do that work. Metro West can't do that work as acting as an agent for me, because he's not an agent for me. If I'm responsible for everything that happens after January 1st, then it's going to be my staff that's going to do that. And we assume that it's all part of our transition activity. So we onboard all those permits, they become part of our portfolio, and we know that everything that happened before the first of the year was inspected, and we know what the status of all those permits are, and we pick it up at that date and move forward from there. So it's just a normal part of our operation. We pick it up, we're going full blast. There's no extra cost for us to assume those responsibilities, because that's what it's part of the job of being your designated building official. So there really isn't a way legally. I mean, if someone said, no, you can't make me, he can't make them. That's really what it comes down to. And he'd be doing inspections without any authority, which isn't really allowed in the state rules. So as a result, my suggestion is that his service ends on 12/31 at midnight, and my service starts on 1/1 at 12:01, and that's the way it goes.
Sure.
So you've
Right.
worked with this gentleman for,
Yes, and where I was previously employed, that city, the city of West Prairie, did use MinSpec as their designated billing official. Absolutely,
because
yes.
you assumed that, mentioned you assumed that you're gonna be here for another 2 years?
Oh, me personally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, at least 2 years.
At least 2 years?
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
In your dealings with our staff, impressions?
Oh, my impressions are that this staff is exceptionally, I don't know if concern's the right word, concerned about making sure that things get done right, I guess is the way I would say that. And that the dialogue that we've had is really all focused on making improvements where improvements are appropriate to make. So the kind of continuous improvement and all those kinds of things strike me as one of the things that comes out of the discussions that we've had. And when Adam and I met 6 months ago or so, at the first kind of conversation that we had here, there were a number of things that he was concerned about, and they really related to the idea that things weren't being done the way they're supposed to be, and that was his. That was the impression that I was left with. So very concerned about making sure things are done right and getting the job done as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Okay.
As far as building inspectors, do you assign a person just to our area, to Winstead, or is it?
We will have somebody who is assigned, designated, assigned is probably the better word, to be your primary, and then there will be a secondary or backup person. But if the world goes to heck in a handbasket because somebody's sick and someone else is, somewhere else, someone will come. We will take care of you, but we will do our best to have one person be your
Primary.
field contact for that. We have an organization that's a little unusual with regards to inspector organizations, in that there's me as a designated building official, and then Ty is my director of operations, and then I've got an office manager, a manager of plan review, and a manager of field inspections, and then the inspectors and the plan reviewers work under those managers' direction. And a lot of organizations are very flat. It's, the head guy, and then everybody works for him or her, and that it isn't scalable. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't get things taken care of the way they need to be taken care of at the levels they need to be taken care of. So there are a number of people who are going to be very concerned about making sure that you get what you need out of a transaction or an issue or a problem. And I don't want you to think that just because you've got someone assigned you that that's the end of it, because there's a manager and their director and then myself to make sure things get taken care of if they don't.
No, I get that part, but as far as meeting the public and
Yep.
dealing with them,
Yeah, our goal is to have one person who's primarily assigned to the city of Winston.
Okay.
But if we have a hospital or a jail or a school project, that a state licensed facility project, which I would assume would be a school probably more than anything, if there's going to be one of those activities, we may have other people who are involved in that project. For instance.
totally get it, but you will have a primary,
Yep.
is what I'm getting at,
Yep.
so.
Any other questions? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion, excuse me, to authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute an agreement and contract for inspection services with MinSpec LLC for building official, inspection and related services, and authorize the city administrator to execute a municipal delegation agreement application authorizing MinSpec LLC to conduct building code administration for building, public buildings, and state licensed facilities in the city of Winston.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Pulling plan review. There's been a conversation about plumbing plan review.
Yeah, we haven't discussed with the city council yet.
Okay.
We,
No time like the present. I guess.
right. So we will be bringing an ordinance amendment to the city council, and the ordinance amendment will allow us to handle plumbing review of state facilities, like a school, right?
No, this is for
Or
any
commercial, any
project,
commercial
yeah.
project. We'll be handling in-house, meaning with our staff or our consultants, versus having the state of Minnesota do those plumbing plan reviews and inspections.
And currently, they're running at 10 or 11 weeks, so before you can really break ground, you have to have the plumbing plan so you can bring the services
Right.
to the right
So
spot.
we should be able to
In 2 to 3 weeks.
Right, so we can administer our commercial permits more efficiently, because we'll have MinSpec do that plan review and inspection versus having the state of Minnesota do that. So they provided us with some ordinance language, a template. We'll get that drafted. We have to have the state of Minnesota review that language and approve it, and then we'll get it on the council agenda accordingly. So that will be coming up in the first quarter of 2022.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
kind of depending on the state of Minnesota's review process of our language ultimately. So, but again, that will create some efficiencies by having MinSpec provide that service versus the state of Minnesota then. So, thank you, Scott, for
Thank you,
reminding me.
Scott.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is to approve and recommend 2022 final property tax levy, Resolution R 21-54. Mr. Adam.
Sure. On September 21st, 2021, the city staff recommended a preliminary 2022 property tax levy of $1,666,709, or an increase of 7.91% compared to the final 2021 property tax levy. The city council opted to certify the recommended levy change in the continued discussion regarding the operating budget and capital improvement plan financing strategy, while allowing the city staff to further review the budget. During a special city council work session on October 26th, 2021, the council reviewed the recommended 2022 budget and corresponding levy. The city staff presented a recommended 2022 budget with a detailed review of revenues and expenditures on that date. As a result of the council review on that date, city staff this evening recommends a final 2022 levy of $1,593,048, which is an increase of $48,496 compared to the adopted 2021 levy. The recommended 2022 budget proposes to decrease the debt service levy by 7.05%, while increasing the general levy by 6.61%, for a total increase of 3.14%. According to McLeod County, the McLeod County assessor, the estimated net tax capacity for the city increased from $2,068,812 in 2021 to $2,091,319 in 2022, or approximately 1.09%. The change in the levy, compiled with the increase in net tax capacity, results in an estimated increase in property taxes payable in 2022 for a median valued home here in Winsted of approximately $45 or $3.75 per month. So with that being said, the city staff certainly is recommending the adoption of Resolution R-21-54, certifying the final 2022 general property tax levy of $1,228,600, and the final debt service levy of $364,448, for a total final property tax levy of $1,593,048, or again, an increase of 3.14% from the adopted 2021 levy. That being said, is there any questions from me regarding the final property tax levy? Just
Thank you for your guidance and for getting us where we wanted to go.
Sure. We all certainly recognize that we had a long day of work on October 26th, and we were able to work diligently to find some efficiencies within the proposed or the preliminary budget and levy, and that's what got us here this evening.
Good job. Any other questions? I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to adopt resolution R R-21-54, certifying the final 2022 general property tax levy of $1,228,600 and a final 2022 debt service levy of $364,448 for a total final property tax levy of $1,593,048.
I have a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The last item under new business is to adopt and recommend the 2022 budget resolution R-21-55. Mr. Adam.
Sure. Annually, the city council must approve a budget. For the city of Winsted, the annual adopted budget provides the city with the funds necessary to provide for city services and accomplish the visions and goals established by the city council. Cities must submit budget resolutions and property tax levy certifications on or before December 30th of each calendar year. Between various work sessions and the December 7th, 2021 regular meeting, the council reviewed and provided guidance for the budgets of various funds managed by city, including but not limited to the airport fund, airport improvement fund, capital improvement fund, debt service funds, fire department operations fund, the general fund, and certainly the water and sewer enterprise funds. The recommended 2022 budget reflects additional cost pressures in street maintenance and utility infrastructure, as well as a planned street maintenance project in the Pheasant Run in Winston on the Lake residential developments. In addition, the proposed budget reduces the previous capital improvement plan strategies or funding strategies, and that is to certainly recognize the economic pressures that all of our residents are in right now, coming out of the pandemic. And then lastly, city staff recommended several modifications to the operating budget to reflect actual costs and made those adjustments accordingly. The final recommended 2022 budget authorizes revenues and expenditures totaling $5,990,831 in revenues and $5,785,024 in expenditures. And again, a lot of these increases from the previous year are directly attributed to planned street improvement projects scheduled for 2022. So with that being said, are there any questions for me this evening on the budget?
Then I'll consider a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-21-55, adopting the recommended 2022 budget for the city of Winsted, Minnesota.
Second.
I have a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We come to this evening's organization report from the Garden House.
I am not seeing them here this evening. I know the last time we had a new director there, they ended up in the wrong community. I hope that didn't happen again tonight. I hope they just had something else come up. But, Mr. Mayor, they're not here this evening, so we'll have to forgo that.
If they're not here, then I will ask for anyone that wishes to address the microphone and tell us, Mr. Weibel. First name Glenn.
Glenn Weibel, 540 First Street North, Winsted. About a month ago, I received a check in the mail that I wanted to refuse, and I was told I couldn't. That the state says that the city has to pay, and this is, I guess, compensation for serving on the airport committee. I serve on two other airport committees. One's for 21 years and another one for about 15 or 16 years. And I've never accepted anything. And I don't plan to accept this. I've talked to the administrator, and I have a check written back to the city of Winsted for $375 that I don't want. I appreciate the effort, And I've asked that this be used for a park improvement, particularly at Hanlon Park, to work on the restroom facility, which is in bad need of repair and improvement. So thank you for the check, but I don't want it.
Okay.
I guess in the future, if I continue on the commission, I'll be returning money in the future.
Well, I think I can speak for city council here a little bit. We certainly appreciate the sentiment, Glenn. If the city council wants to accept this donation to the park improvement fund, it can be done via motion this evening, certainly. So,
Make a motion, we accept it.
All those in favor?
Need a second.
oh, we'll need a second.
Oh, I
then,
need a
Mr. Mayor.
second, yes,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Glenn, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And we'll stay in touch on how we can expend those funds to meet those needs, okay, Glenn? Or those requests. Okay.
The first thing that was gonna be done is we're gonna all go to Blue Note first.
George, come on now.
All right, any more announcements? We come to the open forum, it's done, and now I have to go to Adam.
Sure. Just two real quick announcements. The City Hall is scheduled to be closed December 23rd and 24th in recognition of the upcoming holiday, as well as December 31st. That is our designated floating holiday this year per the personnel policy. So City Hall will be closed for a handful of days over the next 2 weeks. And again, in observation of the holidays. But other than that, that is, yeah. And then just as a reminder to the city council, on January 4th, we will be recognizing Dave Meyer in his resignation from the Public Works Department after 20 years of service. We will have a little presentation during the regular portion of the business meeting, and then after the meeting, we will be having a get-together with some people we've invited in recognition again of his years of service for the city of Winsted.
Just out of curiosity, is Dave staying on part-time as snow plowing and the like?
It hasn't been determined yet. We've certainly offered that. Now, some of the retirement laws with PRA limit the first 30 days of staying on staff, but then after that, he's certainly able to, and he hasn't made that decision yet. So,
Just curious.
yeah, we've encouraged him to. So,
Anyone else have anything else? Did I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before we go, I would like to make a little bit of a statement. I know that the last 2 years have been a little difficult for us because of the virus, but this is a new year coming up. So I would like to, on behalf of the staff and those in the audience, wish everyone out there a very happy Christmas and a great New Year's, and stay healthy.
fair enough. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Ma'am. Have a homemade.
Driving.
It's like an.
Oh, yes.